Ever been so angry with someone that it just burned inside? You were so mad, you wanted to say the most hurtful things as a way to strike back for all the pain that you felt, for all the toxins that were spewed in your direction. Elohai Netzor, which you can find in the prayer book on 29a, Elohai Netzor invites us to pump the brakes, to do a cheshbon hanefesh, a soulful intake that empowers us to cool down, to reflect on hurt feelings, and at our best, fashion a response that does not depend on harmful speech. This prayer asks God to help us find a more sacred pathway through that conflict, a healing and hope-filled pathway that ultimately will help us feel closer to God. Elohai Netzor Lishoni Mera, Elohai Netzor Lishoni Mera. Oh my God, watch over me. Take the hurt away from how I speak. Only love flows from you. May every word I speak be true. Elohai Netzor Lishoni Mera, Elohai Netzor Lishoni Meira. When words are thrown, I'll hold my tongue and breathe the air of songs I've sung. That refrain I'll repeat. There's more to you than only me. Elohai Netzor Lishoni Mera, Elohai Netzor Lishoni Meira. Usfatai midaber mirma, Velimkal elai nafshi tidom, Venafshi kefa lakol tiyeh. Hi na na, hi na na na, hi na na, hi na na na, hi na na, hi na na na, hi na na, hi na na na. When I was 7 years old, my whole family converted to Judaism. My mom and dad took an Intro to Judaism class with John Stein, Indianapolis Hebrew congregation, probably 1974, 1975. First off, my mom and dad would talk about John Stein all the way home back to our house. And they would say he would just come right down off the bema and just start talking to people like he actually liked us. It was the most amazing thing. And I was feeling John Stein of blessed memory just then. I want to share with you a story that happened to me. I'm going to tell it the way I remember it. I will try to tell it the most authentic way I can. And at dinner, if I'm off, you can find Ellen Dreskin. She's sitting somewhere in this room, and you can check with her and see if I'm telling this the way it happened to her. But she and I and some of our friends were at a congregation. It was a Friday night, and it was time to do this thing. And before we were doing this thing, we were in the rabbi's office. This is my memory. Doesn't necessarily mean this is what happened. This is what I remember. We're in the rabbi's office, and the rabbi says, listen, we have a lot going on tonight. First off, it's Shabbat. Secondly, it's like a 50th wedding anniversary. We got to do that. It's consecration. We've got a bunch of announcements tonight. The sisterhood has a bake sale. We've got to mention that. And, oh, by the way, Dan, Ellen, you're also there. So he said, this is what I remember he said, if we run out of time, we'll just cut Aleinu l'shabeach. And I didn't think before I spoke. I just blurted out, wait, you can do that? And Rabbi said, yeah, I can, and we can, and no one will notice. We did the service. There was the 50th wedding anniversary. It was consecration. The sisterhood gave a wonderful presentation about the bake sale. And it was Shabbos, and we did our song thing. And in fact, we ran out of time, whatever that means. And we cut Aleinu l'shabeach. Nobody said anything about it. I went to the Oneg afterwards. I drank the decaf coffee. I ate the lemon bar. And I talked to people, and nobody said anything about, why didn't we do Aleinu l'shabeach tonight? And that began a conversation with my friend, hopefully your friend, Cantor Ellen Dreskin, which was, what's up with Aleinu? Why can we just skip that? That's the thing we're going to cut? Now, at this point of the service, we're already, 45 minutes in? Or 3 hours, depending on how you're feeling that day. But that's a thing. We're already in this place. We're kind of, wrap it up, song boy. And it just strikes me that what we just did with Misha Barach, that's essential now in Reformed congregations. We that tunes the room. We have to make sure that we pray for people that we know and don't know who are suffering or hurting, mind, body, spirit, all of that. We got to do that. That seems fundamental. And where we're headed after Aleinu l'shabeach is Kaddish Yatom, our prayer for our beloved dead. Remember them with this prayer that doesn't actually mention death at all. It mentions all about life and how God is an amazing creator of this life we enjoy. And we can't even come close to praising God, but we're going to do it anyway. Here it goes. We have to do that. And so often, from my perspective, as I travel around the country and hear and be a part of services, Aleinu l'shabeach, it just kind of feels sometimes, as I pay attention to the room, it kind of feels like we're just going, blah, 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 blah. Let's get through this so we can go to the Oneg. And so I said to Ellen, what's up with Aleinu? Why is this the thing we can cut? Like, what's going on here? Couple things. Maybe some folks have an issue with some of the chosenness language that exists in the prayer. Somebody can look it up. What page is Aleinu l'shabeach on? 36, A, B, or C? Yes. I'm learning. Anyway, I want to share with you, take a look at the translation as it's there. There's some very interesting language that translates the Hebrew in some ways, and even the Reform movement over years has changed the Hebrew from the traditional Aleinu l'shabeach, which is very specific, actually, traditionally about how God chose us as separate and maybe even quite explicitly better than everybody else to do God's work in partnership with the Holy One. The Reform movement over years has had a problem with that or been curious about that at best. It's changed some of the language. Ellen suggested to me, this is my memory again, maybe the chosenness language is what puts some folks off to Aleinu. We can just skip that. Here's an idea to think about that Ellen suggested to me that got me back on track and engaged in a way that felt really good. Perhaps at the beginning of the service, when we all stood up and faced the ark and did the Baruch Hu, our call to worship, that's a call to worship. At the beginning of the service, kind of an open parenthesis on this conversation we're having over this time. Maybe at the end of our service now, Aleinu l'shabeach could serve as a closed parenthesis to that conversation, and it's another call, but instead of a call to worship, perhaps the Aleinu l'shabeach can be considered a call to action. What if Aleinu L'Shabeach could be considered a different kind of call? Instead of a call to worship, a call to action. That, God willing, when we go out of this room tonight and out into the wide, wide world, that we want to be a part of partnering with the Holy One in perfecting this world and making a better place for all people, Jewish and non-Jewish. What could happen? Maybe Aleinu L'Shabeach in that way could get us to a place where we'd want to engage with it in a way that's more active. And it was in that spirit that Ellen Dreskin came all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina, where I live. We spent 2 days studying the prayer and wrote this setting of Aleinu L'Shabeach, which is on purpose all in English. And I would like to sing it for you now, and then we will conclude our service. I mentioned that my whole family converted to Judaism when I was 7 because I sit in this room with you tonight and I hear the way you sing with open hearts and open spirit. I see a young child in between the pillars doing the Macarena for Lachado D. And I find myself inspired in ways I've never been inspired before in Jewish worship. It reminds me of what it felt like when I was 7 to discover this world, that this is how it is, this is how it could be, to pay attention to a moment, how to pay attention to holiness, how to pay attention to community, how to listen to the voice inside myself and the people around me, so that maybe, please God, I could find the voice of the Holy One and be connected to her, him, and them. And it's in that spirit I want to share this Aleinu L'Shabeach, which would not happen without Ellen Dreskin spending time with me and daydreaming for 2 days. So this is for all of us considering and open to the idea, what does it mean to be called? It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we were freed to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu L'Shabeach. It's time to live our praise. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. What stories will be told of us when we are here no more? We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Aleinu L'Shabeach. It's time to live our praise. It's up to us to own the vision. We are an answer to a call. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Aleinu L'Shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu L'Shabeach. It's time to live our praise.